what's up? Serena Appiah here from thriftiving.com, and today we are going to do a really quick, very easy, very inexpensive dining room makeover. We don't all have 30 days to make over a room, so what if you only had 3 or 4 days? Stick with me because I've got a room makeover for you, and I'm going to introduce you to some really new, cool painting tools that haven't even hit the market, and I guarantee you're going to want to get your hands on these. Let's jump into it. So 8 years ago when we bought the house, this is what the dining room looked like from the previous owners. And I used to think it looked horrible, but that furniture was gorgeous. It looked pretty homey. Well, the wallpaper was not my style, so we did remove that, but we replaced it with this green paint that just did nothing for the room. I put all kinds of thrifted furniture in this room, and it just needed a unified look. So that's what we're going for in this video. Well, let's talk about the tools that we're going to use. I traditionally have a bunch of handles in different sizes, and removing that wet roller from the handle is so tough. That's not my favorite part of painting. Well, this company called Chroma Painting System had reached out to me and said, hey, we've got this adjustable roller. We're going to do a Kickstarter. Do you think you want to try it out? Well, yes. Let's give it a try, and we're going to do that in this video. We're going to review that, but we're also going to make over this dining room. Well, the first thing we needed to do was get rid of all the things in the room. And I really, really wanted to refinish this floor. It's the original floor of 1973, and it just needed a good refinishing. We'll get to that once we have time and budget. And unfortunately, this light needed to go, but some people said they actually liked it, so we're gonna keep it. We're not gonna do anything to it, but clean it up. And while we like these doors for privacy, they were outdated and they were always dirty. Tons of kids' fingerprints, and yes, my children put fruit stickers all over it. It's not a good idea to paint over dirty, dusty walls, especially if you have not cleaned them in 8 years, like me, raising my hand. So a little bit of vinegar and water mixture will clean them. Spackle will cover any holes, and 220 grit sandpaper will get it nice and smooth. And be sure to wear a mask. Take a baggie, put all of your covers in there with the screws. You don't want to lose them. So now that everything's been cleaned, patched, sanded, we can get started with painting the ceiling. I hate painting ceilings, but if you can, use an extension pole. It makes it much easier. You don't have to climb up on any ladders. The Chroma Painting System is threaded on the bottom, so you can just screw that right on to your pole. And of course, you don't have to use white ceiling paint, but unless you've got 10-foot ceilings, stick to the lighter colors because it'll make your room feel bigger and brighter. I'm tired already. I wish I could just snap my fingers and boom, the room is painted. Well, if only it were that easy, Serena, but it's not. One thing that I did find that made this painting job easy was the paint tray. I've never been able to safely carry a paint tray with just one hand without the paint spilling over at least once. So I was reviewing this paint tray and I found that it was actually very sturdy and steady, that I could even hold it while touching up paint, or if I needed to move around the room from one place to the next to, move it out of the way, I could just easily do that and not worry about the whole thing tipping over. So when I was done the ceiling, I needed to use a paintbrush to just touch up along where the crown molding was. And I found that I could even just hold it in one hand and it didn't tip over. So that was pretty awesome. Next up, the wall color. And I'll admit, I've been addicted to pinks, purples, mauves. There's something about this color palette that just makes me so happy, and I wanted that in my dining room. So I taped everything off and then got my paintbrush. I like to use a nice angled paintbrush to cut in along the crown molding, along the doorways. Once it was all done, it was time to take off very easily, pop that old roller off from the ceiling, and you'll notice that I'm not having to rip it off like I traditionally do with, traditional roller handles. This I could easily just unlock, pop another roller on there, and lock it, and then we're ready to go. Oh, but I almost forgot. They actually make a corner roller as well. So, this is a 3-inch roller. I can use it on the same exact roller handle, which is pretty cool, whether it's a 3-inch or a 9-inch. And I did find that it saved me a lot of time for the corners, and because that's a part that I really don't like to paint by hand is the corners. So this did save a lot of time. Next up, it was time to fill in those walls with this beautiful mauve color. And I have to admit, I really like the way this paint roller performed. If you've used a traditional paint roller before, you know what it's like trying to get that paint on there evenly and you feel like you're pushing, your back is sore the next day. Yeah, you know, you've been there. But with this painting roller, I didn't feel like I had to do that. I felt like the wall color went on very evenly so that by the time I was done my first coat, I was ready for the next coat the next day. And all I had to do was to pop that roller off, put it in a baggie and save it for the next day. So I just felt like it was just an easier time, you know, with easier tools. All right, so we are back on day 2 of this dining room makeover, and we are ready to put another coat of paint. I had to do some touch-up repair spots because some of the paint was coming off the walls from an older problem from back 8 years ago when we removed the wallpaper, but we are repairing those. And so now we're ready for coat number 2. All right, so we've got our roller here. We just stuck it in a bag real quick so we can open this up, pop this old roller on, and I just put it in the refrigerator. Tighten this up. And now we are ready for coat number 2. So day 2 was really finishing up the second coat of paint. I did a coat of paint over the chair rail and the crown molding, and I did tape off, but I needed to do a little bit of touch up. So use a nice 1.5 to 2 inch angled brush. It really makes those touch ups very easy. So the last painting thing that I needed to do on day 2 was the bottom of the chair rail. So I popped on another roller, very easy, 9-inch roller, and was able to get that done with 2 coats. And the paint tray was so easy to use that I could even ask my 8-year-old to bring it. And he didn't spill anything. Now I picked up these chairs from the thrift store for $15 each, but at this point, painting 4 chairs is going to take a long time, and I love to use a roller. So I popped off the 9-inch roller, put on the 3-inch, and heard that click, and I knew that it was locked and ready to go. So adding 2 or 3 coats, the chairs look great. You can check out some of my other videos for how to paint furniture, but make sure that it's clean, add a couple of coats, 3 coats if necessary, and it looks amazing. So at this point, it was time to move the furniture back in the room. And surprisingly, I found the rug in another part of my house, so I didn't even need to buy a rug. I tried to reuse as many things as possible. I used the same buffet, same mirrors, same tables, chairs, and just used paint and a few things from the thrift store, like these aluminum frames. And I removed the black and white photos and put pictures of my family in the photos. So again, this is what my dining room looked like 8 years ago when the wallpaper came down. We didn't do anything special with this room for 8 years. The rug didn't even match the table, but now it's this beautiful color, and we still have things we need to add to the walls to just kind of give it that warmth that I'm looking for, but that will come in time. And if you remember, this is the curtain that we had in the dining room. They didn't even touch the floor, but for about $25 to $30 for one panel, it looks really good. It complements the color, and they touch the floor. And one I'll probably have to hem later on. Well, for under $200, I was able to take this boring, dark dining room that had a rug that didn't even fit with the furniture and turn it into something that I kind of feel proud of. If people came over to my house, I would want to show them this room. The color's amazing. I reused as much of the furniture as possible, shopped my house for the rug, and was able to turn it into this place that I just feel very happy about. And I have to admit, I really love this paint roller. They delivered. They said all you'd need is one roller handle, and that's the truth because it fits all these sizes, and you're not going to have the frustration of ripping off this wet roller. And I love the tray, one hand, gotta love it. So I'm excited to see what else they develop for the homeowner, for the everyday DIYer. So here's where we come in. If enough people back this project on the crowdfunding site Kickstarter, these tools will be ready to ship as early as the fall. To pledge your support, you got to go back to thriftdiving.com/Chroma and click on the big green button, back this project, and then just pick your level of support, and it's that simple. I know that you want to see these tools hit the market because I can tell you I do. So I will see you next video. Thanks for watching.